How's it going, guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're taking a look at something new. Intel made a graphics card.
This is their Iris Xe graphics card. Well, this specifically is a Cyberpower PC, but you can only pick it up from this, well, Cyberpower PC. So what we're gonna do is unbox this thing, take a look at it, and see what Intel's first dedicated graphics card actually looks like and how it performs. But before we do that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Today's video is brought to you by Silicon Power and their US70 Gen 4 NVMe SSD, featuring great price to performance with read speeds up to 5,000 megabytes per second and write speeds up to 4,400 megabytes per second, being built with TLC flash and also coming in capacities of 1 and 2 terabytes. We love to use Silicon Power SSDs in our gaming PCs because of their value for money offering compared to other SSD manufacturers. If you're looking for a no-nonsense quality NVMe Gen 4 SSD for your next gaming PC build, then you should look no further than the US70 from Silicon Power. Check the link down below to learn more, and special thanks to Silicon Power for sponsoring today's video.
Alright guys, so we picked this up from Best Buy for $700 because, as Matt said, Cyberpower works really hand in hand with Best Buy, so it's very easy to get this. One of the only systems we've found that actually has the Intel dedicated graphics card, and we don't really know how good it's going to be. From what we've heard, it's pretty close to basically just Intel's integrated graphics, so is this really worth it at the $700 price point?
I find it kind of funny that the CPU is an 11400F and they could have just went with like an 11500 and it probably would have been the same thing. But for the sake of seeing an actual dedicated GPU from Intel, we thought we'd pick this thing up, open it up, and see how it performs. So let's not waste any more time and dive right into it.
All right guys, so opening up the Cyberpower PC, and what's the actual name of this one?
Play Ready.
It's the Play Ready.
It's the Play
I don't know
Ready.
if that's really what it's called, but we're gonna call it the Play Ready. So yeah, we're using the big bad Bowie knife for this because, you know, I think that this deserves it. But yeah, we're pretty excited though to check this out because, to our knowledge, this is literally just like Matt said, buying a 10500. Why wouldn't you just do that? I don't know. Maybe this Intel dedicated GPU is a little bit better than just going with integrated graphics. God, my thumb will not fit in this. Ugh. All right, we got one handle out.
It's a challenge.
I know. I'm using my left one too.
You can see right here, Intel inside. Whoa.
Yeah, and they mean like double Intel
Double
inside.
Intel.
Like, I'm used to seeing Intel inside, but not for a GPU.
An all Intel gaming PC question mark?
I guess that's basically what this is. Well, because that's one thing that AMD is always, not always, but they've had an Intel for the last like 10 years, I would say, is, you know, they actually have their own, it sounds like a lot of stuff. They actually have their own, is there anything on the front here?
The keyboard and mouse, it's hanging on.
Do you want to make sure it doesn't fall? I'm holding something back here.
The computer is on the mouse.
We're about to test how good their components are. So it's pretty cool in typical Cyberpower fashion. You can't really ignore this stuff either. I mean, you gotta remember, this is like a fully working keyboard and mouse. And for a lot of people, you know, you've already spent so much money on the PC, you really don't want to go out and buy a dedicated keyboard and mouse. Now, do we really recommend these over like mechanical? Probably not, but who knows, maybe it will be mechanical. Okay, mouse is pretty nice. Looks like it has some RGB on it. It looks like, honestly, one of our like $20 mouse roundups or $10 mouse roundups. And then the keyboard, nice and easy to open. I like that, no tape.
It's LED.
Yeah, it's membrane. It looks nice, but yeah, this is literally like, once again, this is something from like the $10 to $20 keyboard roundup essentially. But it'll get the job done. It has LEDs, as it says. It's a LED keyboard. Let's see what they include here real quick, and then we'll actually get into the fun part of the PC. We got an important, read this first.
Nope, we ain't reading that.
It looks like we got, is that maybe like a wire? I think it's a wireless adapter for Wi-Fi. Yeah, Wi-Fi. So this does have Wi-Fi on it. That's actually a really big selling point for a lot of people. We actually got a remote, and so it's in a PVA case. Or a PVO like fans or LEDs, power cord, and they include like some M.2 screws, some SATA. Always appreciate these Prevo companies do that, because I remember back in the day, they did not want you opening their PCs. Like, they did not give you any upgrade path because they were like, oh, if they open our PCs, they're gonna break them. And a lot of people didn't like that, because a lot of people who are computer enthusiasts, you know, they really want to upgrade the PC themselves at some point. So let's go ahead and get this thing open. It's not super heavy, which is nice.
Nice foam.
Last few pre-builds we've done have been very, very heavy, and I'm tired of it. I wanted a nice light gaming PC, and this is it. I can already tell that the power supply is a little on the cheap side because I saw some ketchup and mustard on the inside.
There's that ketchup and mustard.
Oh, we got ketchup and mustard?
Can't see everything though. We're gonna...
Oh, I see a single stick of RAM.
Oh, got some downsides here already.
Definitely for the $700 price point, I would really love to see dual channel. Now, do you know if this is 8 or 16?
There it is.
No fans. So we have a naturally heat dissipated heat sink right here, just all aluminum. Now, one thing I think that probably, not really doesn't, I mean, I was gonna say maybe you get more graphics out ports, but you get HDMI, DisplayPort, and DVI. And on the motherboard, you would have gotten
a bunch of peel left.
You literally would have gotten the same amount. You would have gotten DisplayPort and 2 HDMIs, which could arguably be better than having a DisplayPort. Yeah, they did leave, that's a lot of residue left behind.
Not a great sticker there, Cyberpower.
Okay, there's another, more residue on top, but you know what, I can't really dock too many points off for that. So, yeah, we got a single stick of RAM. We have an Intel stock cooler, which is fine. You know, we kind of vouch for Intel stock coolers, so everyone makes fun of us. The front panel situation is kind of weird. We only have the power plugged in, and I kind of get the vibe that there would be more, but who knows? This is a custom case. It does actually have their name on it. So I'm thinking maybe this isn't a PVA case because even the fans have Cyberpower on them, but we got a PVA remote. So I would think that this is a rebranded case. It looks like for the motherboard, I'm assuming like H14 or H510.
We'll put it on screen.
Well, it has 2 USB 3s though. I'm thinking that this is a B460 or B560. I don't think that they went super cheap on the board. Let's go ahead and open the back because that's always the scary part. Dun, dun.
A quick note on the motherboard, it is 11 gen, so I would think B560, but you never know.
Okay, so the back's not like terrible. You know, there's definitely a little bit of cable management to be desired, but honestly with a pre-built like this, that's not bad. The power supply, I thought it was gonna be like a no-name brand. It actually is a Thermaltake Smart 500 or 600. That's 80 plus gold. Okay. Ketchup and mustard cables though.
That's so weird.
This is one of Thermaltake's like older ones. I think it's like one of their T series or whatever, like the TR blah, blah, blah. That's like kind of older and everybody complains about because like, why do they still make this power supply for 10 years? But I mean, overall though, the build seems pretty nice. Oh, Fantex cables.
But then I think, here we go, the mystery is solved. PVA fans.
Okay. But it's a Fantex case maybe.
Yes.
That would make more sense because this doesn't really look like a PVA case. Yeah, I don't even know what Fantex case this would be. I don't know if you've ever seen one like this that looks like this.
Maybe P200. I know they're known for having like this design in the front.
Yeah, and like the half glass that only goes down to the basement. So, I mean, yeah, overall for $700 and right now's economy, this doesn't seem bad. What kind of storage do we have?
500 gigabyte NVMe.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't see any. But yeah, I think we should actually get to testing this. Hopefully these Intel graphics, like I'm really hoping that's kind of the saving point is they run a little bit better than 11500, which we have benchmarks of, and I think a pretty similar build, probably a little bit more high end than this because we probably use dual channel. So that'll be fun to compare those two.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll just plug this thing up, test in some games, and yeah, go from there. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Alright guys, now that we have this PC booted up with that Intel GPU, let's talk about a couple benchmarks real quick. Now we decided to test this PC in a couple of titles, those being Fortnite, Chivalry 2, Rainbow Six Siege, and Valorant. Now first up with Fortnite, we start to see one major issue, which, well, I probably could have tested differently, but I didn't have the means to do so. The fact that I was using a 4K display and scaling down to 1080p, which has not been a problem with any other PC I've tested recently here on the channel. We have a 4K monitor so we can benchmark games at 4K, and when we want to test at lower resolutions, we will set the monitor to 1440p or 1080 and it would work perfectly fine. But for some reason, this Intel GPU does not like scaling down out of native resolution, because when playing a game like Fortnite on performance mode at 1080p, if I went full screen at all at 1080p, it would literally just freeze up and won't let me stay on full screen. The screen would go black and then go back after it realizes, oh, I can't apply the settings, so it only can run on windowed full screen, which is not the best way to get the most performance. So as you can see right here, we average 60 plus FPS and sometimes into the 100s. It's a playable experience on performance mode, but you probably would get more performance from one of two things: having 2 sticks of memory and actually being able to run at full screen mode. So not really sure what was going on there. If you guys have any ideas, let me know down below, but do take these Fortnite performance numbers with a grain of salt because of that reason. But when we actually tested other games like Chivalry 2, it worked fine. It was able to run full screen at 1080p, so not really sure if it's an issue with the game and the graphics card. This is a new GPU, so it could be a driver thing. I am running the latest driver that is available on Intel's website, so I don't really know what else to say other than that, but in Chivalry 2 at 1080p on low settings, we only got like 30-ish FPS. We started to see where this GPU is, well, limiting. Chivalry 2 is playable at 30 FPS. It's not great, but it is a playable experience because when you're swinging a sword around, 30 FPS is plenty in my opinion, just from my experience playing the game, but to each is their own. And next up in Rainbow Six Siege, we had a couple of issues again, but this time it wasn't a really big issue. The only problem we had was when we were running full screen mode again. Well, it was full screen or window full screen, did the exact same thing. The game was locked at 60 FPS, no matter what. There was no VSync enabled, nothing that I could see that was causing it to stay locked at 60. It was just locked at 60. So I ran the built-in benchmark, medium settings, got an average of 58 FPS. So in reality, it really wouldn't have mattered because the average probably would have been the same if it went over 60 FPS because we did dip below 60. So do keep that in mind. It really doesn't matter in the long run, but you probably would have seen some higher highs if that frame rate wasn't limited to 60 FPS. So just keep that in mind. Another fun little issue with this Intel GPU. And last but certainly not least is Valorant. I wanted to test a game that I knew would work perfectly fine, just like Valorant, League of Legends, Dota. All those games would run perfectly fine on this little graphics card. At 1080p medium settings, we got 100 plus FPS. In recap, this graphics card is just, well, an interesting thing. It's cool that it's on the market and the fact that us content creators can make a video about it, but is it really something I recommend you buy? Well, I mean, not really. If you're building a new PC, pick up an 11500 and add some extra RAM, and you'll probably get very similar results. I do think this graphics card is performing a little bit better, though, compared to the base integrated Iris Pro graphics on an 11500, but I don't think it's that much more where I'd actually justify going on my way to get this PC and use this graphics card. I think it's just a good alternative to the GT 710, which a lot of pre-built companies are using and getting a lot of hate for because it is an ancient card that is not designed for gaming at all. But when in the midst of this GPU crisis, they have to put something in their systems, and I think this is a better alternative. It can game a bit better, and it's better than rocking an APU for the most part because you'll have a CPU that's a good basis to upgrade with a GPU later, a better GPU later. So it's a cool card. It's different. I'm glad we had the chance to take a look at it. If you guys do want to pick any of these PCs up with these graphics cards, links in the description down below will be affiliate links and they will help us out. But proceed with caution. It's not necessarily a recommendation from us, but it is a cool piece of tech if you're somebody who likes to fiddle with things like this. And yeah, it's a GPU from Intel, so I think it's pretty cool. How we're going to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
So we just got done benchmarking this PC, and to our surprise, the discrete Intel Iris graphics card actually performed a little bit better than we thought it would. We think it was a little bit better than something like the integrated graphics on the 11500 from Intel.
Really, this graphics card is just kind of like Intel's first step into the graphics card market. It's their little baby step. Not totally sure why Cyberpower and these gaming companies are really using them because I don't really think they're the best gaming cards, but I'm mainly thinking they're doing this instead of throwing like a GT 710 in their systems anymore, which a lot of people frown upon for a gaming PC. This is definitely more capable than that. So it was pretty cool to take a look at this thing. If you want to buy this PC for whatever reason, link in the description down below will be an affiliate link and it will help us out directly to Best Buy. But yeah, overall it's a nice PC. I probably would upgrade the RAM. That might give you more frames. 16 gigs does help in most of the games we did test, but for the most part, it's decent as is, and the Intel graphics card is actually pretty cool.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
And hey, speaking on those other YouTube channels, we have Toasty Clips, which is a really awesome way to see all of our extra Twitch content, along with some exclusives, and really just fun stuff around the office. We're actually uploading once a day to it for quite some time until it gets monetized, so yeah. Get us there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so excited to tell you about Toasty Clips. Link down below. Yeah, we're just gonna leave it like that because it's the outro. Who cares? All right, goodbye.
Non-scripted.